For years, hunters have debated corn ponds and baiting. Now, that conversation has officially reached the federal level, with Senator John Kennedy asking U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services for a formal review. It's time for hunters to talk about this and what it means calmly, honestly, and with the future of duck hunting in mind. All right, folks, now that this conversation has officially entered the public space, I think it's time to talk about it. U.S. Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana has publicly released a letter to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service asking them to take a closer look at waterfowl baiting practices, specifically flooded corn and what many hunters refer to as corn ponds. Now, everything I'm talking about today is based on public information, and what you're hearing from me is simply my perspective as a lifelong duck hunter, not political commentary. This is about the ducks, hunting ethics, and the future of our sport. Now, this isn't a brand new debate. Hunters have been talking about baiting flooded crops and corn ponds for a long time. It's been debated in duck blinds, boat ramps, and online for years. What's different now is this discussion has moved beyond opinion and into the official review. When a U.S. Senator formally asked the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to study something, it becomes a national conversation. And that's where we are today. So let's talk about what this letter actually says. Senator Kennedy is asking the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to review how current interpretations of waterfowl baiting regulations, including flooded cornfields, may be impacting duck migration patterns and harvest distribution. In the letter, he points out that while some states have increased duck numbers and hunter success, Louisiana, for example, has experienced a significant decline in mallard harvest over the past couple of decades. He raises concerns about the fairness across the Mississippi Flyway and whether certain legal practices may be concentrating birds in ways that were never intended when these rules were originally written. And this is important. The senator is not calling for an immediate ban. He is asking for a scientific review of data and clarity from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This matters for a few reasons. First off, migratory birds. Migratory birds don't belong to one state or one group of hunters. They move through the flyways, and decisions made in one region can affect hunters hundreds of miles away. Second, consistency. Consistency matters. When regulations are interpreted differently from state to state, it creates confusion, frustration, and division among hunters. And third, public perception. Public perception matters more now than ever. Most non-hunters don't understand the fine print of baiting laws. They just see ducks piling into a flooded grain field, and that perception affects how hunting is viewed as a whole. Now, I want to be upfront where I stand. I have never been a fan of corn ponds. And that doesn't mean that people hunting flooded crops are bad people. Listen, if it's legal, it's legal. I'm not accusing anyone of breaking any laws. But for me personally, duck hunting has always been about the chase, the fair chase, habitat, scouting, weather, and reading the birds. Not holding ducks in one place where a food source they can't ignore. That's just my opinion as a hunter, not a judgment on anyone else. I also want to be clear about what this discussion is not. It's not about an attack on farmers. It's not an attack on hunters. It's not even an attack on individual states. And it's not about turning hunters against hunters. And it's definitely, most definitely, not about politics. This is about whether current interpretations of baiting regulations still align with the original intent of conservation, fair chase, and a sustainable waterfowl hunting. Listen, if hunters don't have this conversation thoughtfully and respectfully, I guarantee you someone else will. And history shows us that when hunters lose control of the narrative, regulations don't usually get better. They get worse. Asking questions, reviewing science, making sure regulations match reality isn't anti-hunting. It is pro-hunting. Now, whatever happens next is up to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. A review doesn't automatically mean change. It means studying the issue, gathering data, and evaluating whether adjustments are needed. And whatever comes of it, hunters should stay informed, stay involved, and stay respectful throughout the process. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me, and that's fine. But we all share the same goal: healthy duck populations and a future where our kids and grandkids can still experience duck hunting the right way. Listen, I really do appreciate you watching, and I love to hear your thoughts on this. Just keep them respectful. I'll be leaving a link down in the description below of Senator Kennedy's letter to the U.S. Fish and Game. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all next time on Daddy Duck 365.